Hi, I'm Shelley, and I am the author of Sin and Virtue, part of the Broken Saints series, and I thought I'd read you chapter 1 of my book. I hope you enjoy it.
Chapter 1, Italy, the year 1539. As I stood chest deep in the ocean, my eyes on the sea before me, I recalled the events that had led me here. There are no heroes. At least I have never come across one in all the years I have lived on this earth, and those have been long and tiresome years. Eons have passed since the day I was born under the rule of Emperor Claudius II, a Roman emperor. I lived and nearly died under his iron-fisted rule. He directed for me to be put to death for my betrayal, and I should have died that day. And I did. I died, but Michael, the archangel, saved me. I believed Michael to be my salvation, and I had gladly followed him into the depths of hell on more than one occasion. But no more. No more would I follow the archangel and obey his commands. I no longer believed in his quest. No longer did I feel obligated to follow blindly into oblivion to save the souls of the damned. But now I needed a new purpose. I needed to know what my purpose was, and I needed to understand it. Why had they chosen me to live and never know the sweet kiss of death? They had purged death from my body. Did a soul still linger within me? Or am I a living phantom to live a purpose with no end? That would be torture. I needed something, and still do. I just don't know what it is. A calling still lingers, but the purpose is empty. There are others Michael has made immortal. I have not met them all, but the few I have met, all have lost the desire to be obedient, and would no longer go blindly into battle without knowing the reasons behind it. Nor will I. Battle the storms of hell, Michael had said. I have given you the divine gifts so others may live and die in peace. Staring at the vast ocean made me feel as though my duty would never end. Not until the world does, and that won't be for eons more. No longer will I follow your commands, I shouted to the heavens. I am free of you. I didn't expect Michael to respond, to challenge me to stay in his army. He would send others to bring me back, or he may leave me be to live out my days as I see fit. The question I had now was, what do I do with my life? There is no normal for me. I dove into the sea, clearing my mind of the burdens that swam within it. The seas of Italy were welcoming, cool, crisp, refreshing, and yet with some bite to it. I will eat food and drink wine, and I will wait to see what Michael will do about me. I had no fear of him. Perhaps I should, but I am beyond caring. I need something to change in order to continue on living in this misery of an immortal life. But I was not swimming in the waters off the coast of Milan to cool my mind. I was there for a different purpose. Some might say a greater purpose, but I wouldn't be one of those men. Why had I bothered to trouble myself with the woes of others? I recalled the memory, only moments old, when I had traveled aboard a ship bound for Italy. The ship was well known for cheap fare, with a shared room below decks in the cargo. Ruffians who had little to no coin, but a strong desire to keep their necks out of a hangman's noose, traveled in secret aboard this vessel. The ship was barely seaworthy, but a desperate man had little care, and would not rather spend much time on a ship's muster. I had just left the galley, having decided to pass on the poor fare offered here. The bread had grown moldy and the maggots were aplenty, but that didn't seem to hinder other passengers on board who welcomed my share. I happened upon two ruffians who had set their sights on easy prey, a father and his young son. The men had them cornered with their backs pressed up against the rails of the ship, leaving them no room for escape. It was common for boredom to cause unscrupulous men to seek amusement in less than honorable ways. One of the men had poked the father in chest, while the other pushed the boy, nearly knocking him overboard. "What do you got in your hands?" a man with a weathered voice had shouted. "Do you think I'm blind to what you got there?" His overgrown gray beard hid his mouth and the bottom part of his nose, and he was dressed as though he had been sleeping in a street alley. He was unkempt, covered in dirt and grime, and smelled as though he had slept in a barrel of rotting fish. "We don't know what you're talking about," the father cried out in despair. "I don't know what you're talking about," mimicked the second man. This one had looked as though he could have been the older's brother, as though they were dressed the same. "Get away from us!" He turned to leave the ship's deck to head on to the lower part. The taller of the two men raised his fists about to swing it. "Father," a young boy had called in a panic as he reached for the arm of the man with the overgrown gray beard. "Leave him be, please," the boy pleaded, but he was easily brushed off with a shake of his shoulder. "Give it here, old man," the miscreant demanded, although one look at the old man would have told anyone he would not let go of what he held clasped in his hands so dearly. His son still tried to break the hold he had on his cargo. "I will not let this bloke rob me," he yanked free of his son's light clutch and charged away as though he were a bull in the field, ready to attack another who had wandered into his territory. Both men flew down the steps after the old man, but one of them tripped, crashed into the old man, and caused him to fall overboard. The splash was heard by many who had come to see what had transpired. I casually peered over the side of the ship, calmly watching as the man splashed in the water. "Father!" his son shouted at my side as he stared in horror at his father, who splashed widely about below. "I can't swim!" the old man shouted up to us in desperation. I coolly looked down at the son as I leaned against the ledge. "Is the old man all the family you have?" I asked. The young boy cast a hurried glance at me before he returned his eyes back to his father. "He's all I have in the world." Tears streamed from his eyes. Other men peered over the side of the ship as they pointed and laughed at the poor sap. "Are you sure?" I asked. The boy nodded his head. "Not a one?" I asked again. "No distant relation you may have forgotten about?" I cursed as the boy shook his head. It had been my final blow. I couldn't leave the old man to drown, not in front of his young son. I knew full well the ship's captain would not send help to the man below. There would be no extra coin in it for him if he had to lend a hand in assistance. The pained look of defeat on the boy's reached me. I had been a young boy alone in the world, and I knew what pain awaited him. I sighed heavily as I removed my coat. I handed it to the boy with a stern warning. "Not a crease shall come of it," I chided. I removed my boots and willed them to be there, waiting for me upon my return. "And these had better be here when I return," I shouted for all to hear, although not one head turned in my direction. I jumped into the water. The icy cold depths of it would have made a drunk man sober.
So that was chapter 1 of my book of Sin and Virtue. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like, you can pick up a copy at the Book Dragon, located at 6 West Row, Stockton-on-Tees, or you can visit their online shop at thebookdragon.co.uk. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.